All right, so we're a few minutes away from game 4 between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Dallas Mavericks. No team in NBA history has come back from 3-0. The Pacers were the 155th team on the Eastern Conference side to try to come back from 3-0, and they failed miserably. So now it is up to the T-Wolves to see if they can make that comeback. I just don't see it happening. They have a big issue with Gobert, but we move on. So we're gonna preview the NBA Finals, as it were. It's going to be the Celtics against the Dallas Mavericks, and it's an interesting contrast in styles, I guess is the word. Celtics have kind of gone away from one-on-one ISO ball for the most part, and I'm just going by the eye test. I'm not using any kind of metrics. It's just I remember early on, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum were notorious for holding the ball and dribbling, and they still do that. They still do ISO ball occasionally, but now it's more of a, hunting the 2-on-1 situation and getting the ball to the weak side to get an open three for whoever is on that side, and they kind of rotate around. They kind of learned, I feel, a little bit from the Golden State Warriors, going against them in the final, seeing what it took to win. So that's going to be interesting. And the Mavericks are the opposite. They're playing ISO ball, but they are also moving the ball to a lesser degree. They're leaning on their stars heavily, but their stars are so efficient. They're so good in the playoffs. The first thing I want to take a look at is the net rating, of course. And this is the net rating since the Mavericks have made the trade for Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington. So it's a fair assessment. It's a fair assessment of the state of the net rating. So let's actually move my. So now if you see here, Boston is clear and cut, and they were number one all year in net rating, which is a very, very important indicator as to how well you're doing. Every NBA coach is pretty much fired or hired based on this type of rating. It just calculates the gap in between how good your offense is and how good your defense is, and the bigger the gap, the better you tend to be at both. So look at how big the Celtics are. They're almost twice the net rating that the Nuggets have at 15.4, and that's just kind of remarkable. And this is why they ran away with the regular season crown. They won 64 games. Most other teams got nowhere close to that. Nobody else got close to that. They were above and beyond in terms of net rating. Their three-point percentage was outstanding. They got to the line about as much as the Golden State Warriors, so they've kind of molded themselves into their tormentors from the finals 2 years ago. If the Celtics don't win this, and I think this is the most important part of it, is they're going to be the Buffalo Bills of the NBA. They've been to conference finals time after time again. They've gone to one NBA finals, and this duo of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum have not worked. I don't see them breaking it up even if they do fail, because they can always lean on the excuse that KP has been injured, or you can use whatever else you want to use. But this is their year. They have to do it this year, because it's going to get really bad the next few years on how teams are going to build. And this is a copycat league, just like the Celtics, I feel, copied the formula of the Warriors with three-point shooting, with defense, with moving the ball, making sure that the ball doesn't stick. They're quite a formidable starting five, or actually starting six, because Al Horford, you see that they put him right back into the starting lineup when KP got injured, and it's been like clockwork. Dallas Mavericks were, since February 10th, you see it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They were sixth in net rating since they've made those two trades. And it's impressive because their regular season net rating before the trade was not that impressive. So this trade has really solidified their starting lineup and their bench depth. They have played outstanding. They have played, the Clippers were a bit injured. And we're not going to go on injuries because the Celtics have gotten essentially a bye to get to the finals. They have taken on no Rozier and no Jimmy Butler on the Heat. They won 4-1. They took on the Cavs with no Donovan Mitchell for the last 2 games, no Jared Allen for the last 4 games. They won 4-1. They took on the Indiana Pacers, who themselves beat 2 injured teams to get to the conference finals, without Tyrese Halliburton, without Benedict Mathurin. So it has been a war of attrition. This is the most injured playoffs I've ever seen that I can remember. This felt more like an NFL season, because the NFL is about getting hot but staying healthy at the same time. So I feel like the Celtics and the Mavs were lucky that they were the least injured. And it showed, because the parity is becoming more pronounced in the NBA, I feel. And this is what this new salary cap with the second apron was supposed to do. It was supposed to foster a more competitive type of NBA. And this is going to be the 6th year in a row where we have had a different championship, or a different championship holder, as it were. The Nuggets did not repeat, obviously. So we're going to have a first-time champion in either Luka or Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Kyrie, of course, won his when he was a pup with LeBron in Cleveland. I don't know if he would really consider that. He hit the shot against the Warriors that sent them packing. So, yes, he was a very important part of that, but I don't think he appreciated the moment as he will if he's able to win it now. Right now, the Celtics are pretty big favorites to win this. I don't see that changing much. However, the Dallas Mavericks have earned the right to be here. They have played exceptionally well, and I think it's going to be a close series. I don't see it being a sweep or anything else of that nature. I do give a slight edge to the Celtics, especially if KP can come back and give you something off the bench. He may be out the whole playoffs, and if that's even more impressive, if you're able to win a championship with your whatever argument you want to put, maybe third best player behind Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, to not have that and to win a championship is remarkable. The Dallas Mavericks have, the only injury that they have is Derek Lively. Got a neck stinger. He looks like he can be back even in tonight's game. I didn't check the report. Or potentially he will be back for sure for the finals. So the Mavericks have been the healthiest team in the playoffs. So it should be a good series. Luka and Kyrie are the closers. Somebody said it perfectly. I think it was on TNT, I think it was Reggie Miller, of all people, that they had the Dennis Eckersley and the Mariano Rivera, two of the most dominant closers in baseball. They both are the top closers of all time. And I think that's apropos with Kyrie and Luka, because Minnesota has been in every game until the last 3 minutes. They have led every game. But the fact that Kyrie was able to hit those big shots, Luka has been able to hit multiple big shots, and Minnesota does not have that duo that is able to match them at the end of games to kind of ratchet up the pressure. And I'm sure that's what Minnesota is going to focus on in the offseason, getting somebody else to pair with Ant Edwards that you can consider a two-way player, but is really, really clutch in the closing minutes of games. I don't know who that person is that's available that without completely destroying their team. Should be interesting. They do have Cat to Dangle, who has played absolutely atrocious. He's let his team down. This was a matchup that he should have dominated. I didn't see anybody that could guard Cat, and he has shot like garbage. He has played like garbage. Rudy Gobert has played like garbage. They've let this poor kid Ant Edwards down, but I digress.